Dillian the Body Snatcher White here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Right, so on the 27th of March in Gibraltar, Dillian Whyte got revenge on Alexander Povetkin, knocking him out in spectacular fashion. So we're talking 2 months now. But the WBC have still not reinstated Dillian Whyte as the WBC mandatory. Now, bearing in mind, Dillian Whyte, he was WBC mandatory and the interim champion prior to the first Alexander Povetkin fight. Okay, he lost that first fight. But in the rematch, with him winning, shouldn't he get everything back that he lost? Isn't that how it should work? Because if you disagree with that, then you have to say that Deontay Wilder, very similar circumstance, lost to Tyson Fury. He's activated the rematch. If he beats Tyson Fury, should he not get the WBC belt back? Should he not get everything back that he lost? If you think that he should, then you have to agree with me that WBC should be giving Dillian Whyte back everything that he lost because he got revenge. It's as you were prior to the first fight, isn't it? But the WBC haven't called him the official mandatory again. Yes, he's got his interim status back. Very, very important. But that's only half of what it was that he lost. I'm not even going to talk about the WBC Diamond belt because that's just going to piss me off. I ain't going to lie. But why have they not given him the mandatory position back? Why not? What are they waiting for? Now, Dillian's my pal, and I'll always go to bat for him, that's for sure. And I've asked you guys before when they kept messing about by not giving him the mandatory position, even though he was fighting final eliminators and this, that, and the other eliminators. Eventually, due to the social media presence from all of you, they eventually did. They awarded him for the Oscar Rivas fight. The British Box Board of Control, UCAD, with whatever happened, there was adverse fighting with the PEDs. He was then subsequently cleared of all that, so proven innocent, which is why they let him fight in the first place anyway, but subsequently eventually cleared him of any kind of wrongdoings. But in the meantime, the WBC stripped him of that mandatory position and awarded it to Tyson Fury, who never fought a final eliminator. Didn't even fight an eliminator. In fact, Tyson Fury was offered the elimination fight against Dillian Whyte for the WBC Diamond. Tyson Fury declined it. But because he declined it, and because he refused to take on Wilder in the immediate rematch, they still made him mandatory anyway. That is what it is, but we're talking about the here and now. Why has the WBC not ordered Dillian Whyte as the mandatory? Not only that, we need a date when Dillian Whyte's going to get his world title shot. This is all about the WBC, okay? This has got nothing to do with Anthony Joshua and his belts. This is the WBC. And even though like Dillian's my pal, I understood where people were saying, but Fury Joshua, this is undisputed. It has to happen now. If it doesn't happen now, then we may never get it. I understood all that. Even though every part of me, I want to go, but Dillian, he should be fighting Tyson Fury. This is how it should be. But it's undisputed, I understood. But now the undisputed fight's not happening. In fact, we're getting a third fight with Fury and Wilder that very few people actually want to see. And what are the WBC doing? Well, they're allowing the WBC belt to be on the line for that. Hey, that is what it is. They had nothing to do with the rematch clause. They had nothing to do with the arbitration, nothing to do with it whatsoever. But they're saying, okay, fine, these two can have their third fight, WBC belt on the line. But what are you doing for Dillian Whyte? This is a guy who's been paying you sanctioning fees for a long time. What are you doing about it? Why is it that you gave Dominic Brazil the mandatory position after defeating Eric Bloody Molina? Why is it that you gave Tyson Fury the mandatory position even though he had already agreed to fight Deontay Wilder for the second time? Tyson Fury, who never fought a final eliminator. So you can quite easily give it for other people, but Dillian Whyte, who has been fighting final eliminators, who has been paying sanctioning fees, you seem very reluctant to give him the mandatory position. Are you worried that by calling the mandatory that it's going to interfere with the undisputed fight? WBC have always been very open about how they want undisputed. I understand that. And it's good that they do. Other sanctioning bodies, not so much, right? Especially the WBO, they seem to be the ones that's least interested in undisputed or unifications. Mandatory is their precedent. But with the WBC, it's like they will make other people mandatories and they will let for for example, Deontay Wilder, for the longest time, freeze Dillian Whyte out. Let him fight whoever he wants to fight. But when it comes to Dillian Whyte, they seem to have a problem. I don't know if the problem is that they have a problem with Dillian Whyte. I don't know. Is it a case of they have a problem with Eddie Hearn? I don't know. Is it a case of... I don't know what it is, okay? I can go around the circles for it. Why Charlie Giles, the chairman of the British Boxing Board of Control, petitioned that they remove the mandatory from Dillian Whyte and award it to Tyson Fury is beyond me. I don't get that. But as I said, that is what it is. It was what it was. We're talking about now. Dillian Whyte lost to Povetkin. Okay, cool. But now he's got revenge 2 months ago. But he still doesn't have the mandatory position. Why is that, Mauricio Sulaiman? Why is that? What is the problem? I don't want to hear nobody saying how, well, if they do that, then it might interfere with Undisputed. Tyson Fury's already interfered with Undisputed. He ducked Anthony Joshua. He ducked it. He messed the whole boxing world around. So don't talk to me about no Undisputed fight in November or December because Tyson Fury said so. Tyson Fury says a lot of shit, and a lot of shit don't happen. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And ultimately, if WBC order the winner of Fury Wilder to take on Dillian Whyte next, they could still have Undisputed against Joshua or even Usyk, who knows. But obviously, they're going to have to pay Dillian Whyte some step aside. You can't hold up a mandatory position. You can't hold up Dillian Whyte because of Undisputed. You can't do it. And the way it's going, because they haven't ordered Dillian Whyte as the official mandatory, the WBA could quickly jump in. So their mandatory gets called for the winner of whoever is going to be fighting the second fight in Undisputed. Why should Dillian Whyte have to wait behind the WBA? Maybe behind the IBF in that as well. Why should he have to wait? He shouldn't have to wait. And I know people say, well, maybe he should go a different route and fight for another sanctioning body. Okay, that means giving up his interim title and pretty much starting again. That's the only way that he could possibly get around it. All the years of the hard work, all the years of paying the sanction fees, and the WBC just don't seem to want to give him the mandatory position. What takes so long? It should have been automatically awarded to Dillian Whyte the very second he knocked out Alexander Povetkin. When you lose and you get revenge, you get back what you lost. And that's how it works. It's like saying Anthony Joshua, when he rematched Andy Ruiz Jr., he shouldn't have got all those belts back. It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's absolutely ridiculous. Mauricio Sulaiman, pull your finger out your ass and do something about it, please. I'm asking nicely. What's the problem? My thoughts, you drop me yours, click thumbs up, subscribe, catch you on the next video.